Hey, hello everybody. It's John with Shrimply Thinking. Thanks for tuning back into my channel. So today I'm going to make a DIY UGF filter for a Caridina tank. I'm going to make it a little different than I usually make them. I usually make UGF boxes, like 4x4x4 boxes, whether they're like glass or plastic. But this one I'm going to make right across the back of the tank, and I'm going to silicone in a piece of glass to make the box in the tank. Once again, my mic kept cutting out on me throughout the recording of this. So sections like this, I'm going to have to dub over, and then other sections, the mic was working. I got to pick up a better mic. It doesn't let me know when it cuts out. So I have just this spare piece of glass that I'm going to use that's a little bit bigger than I need, but it will serve the purpose. But I'm going to have to cut the height and the length of it as well. So if you've never cut glass before, there's lots of YouTube videos out there on how to cut glass. I'm not going to go into too much detail about how I cut the glass, just to keep this video as short as I can. So I measured it. I'm going to make it 6 inches high. It's a little bit higher than normal, but I usually fill it 2/3 with shrimp buffering substrate, and then the top I'll fill up usually with lava rocks just to add some biological filtration. So use a straight edge, and as I just did, score the glass, try to do nice even pressure and just do one pull across it. Don't go and try to redo it thinking you're gonna cut it deeper. It's just gonna mess up and you won't get a clean cut. This is kind of a narrow piece I'm pulling off the side of this glass, so the narrower, the more narrow or small it is, the more difficult it is to do. So this one I'm just going to sit and lightly tap away at it, and oh, right there it just broke at the halfway mark, but that's okay. It's still breaking along the score line. But we'll just keep going along here, and it doesn't break quite smooth, just mainly because it broke at the halfway mark. So I will have to sand it a bit to make it a little bit more flush with the bottom of the tank. So the next one I'm going to do is the length, and that'll be a little bit easier one because it's going to be a bigger piece of glass I'm breaking off, and the bigger the glass, the easier it is, and usually the cleaner the break is. Wear gloves. I forgot to wear gloves, and this is like a razor blade once broken. Oh, and this is my new shrimp room partner, Willow, coming to give me a hand. So again, even pressure as you score the glass, and just one score. Use a straight edge, and I had it pre-measured the width that I want. And I'll start off by just giving it some taps, and then I'll put a board underneath, and we'll do a quick little break of it. So it ended up, this was a little bit too big. You'll see me put it in the tank here, and it's too tight of a fit. I could make it fit, but you don't want to have it tight, pushing on the sides, pushing the tank outward. It will most likely cause problems in the future. So I'm going to end up having to sand this down. It's only a millimeter or two that I need to take off the end. And you can't do that with a glass cutter. So the only way that I know of to do it is just put in the work and manually sand it down till it fits. And that's what I'll be doing. All right, I think next segment has audio. Okay, so yeah, the glass is a little tight. I would recommend I cut it the exact size, but because of kind of the imperfections from the cut, it's too tight. I could get it, ram it in there or wedge it in there, but you don't want to be putting pressure on glass, especially glass that's going to be
holding water. So I'm going to just try to sand the edges here and get the bumps and get it as smooth, and it should fit. I'm just going to do the old manual method with a block and sandpaper. Fairly, I think it's like 80 grit, so fairly aggressive sandpaper. If you were to use a power sander or something, be sure to wear a mask on your face because you do not want to breathe in glass dust. So this might take a while. If you've ever sanded glass before, it's like sanding cement. So I'll come back once I get this all sanded. Okay, I think I got her. It didn't take too long. Yeah, nice, and I did all four sides, the edges, so no chance of cutting yourself, especially when you're working in your tank. I did try to sand off the bottom corners to make a little bit of room for the silicone that's already in the tank, because I don't want to mess with that for obvious reasons. So this is going to be an under gravel filter, and I had bought these under gravel filter to make just my small little boxes that I use in all my tanks. And this came from China. I ordered it online. So it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these panels and 1 of these stacks. I had bought a few of these boxes, so I got a whole bunch of leftover panels. So I am going to make a stack out of just PVC, and when we get to that, we'll get to that. I'll show you how you're going to make the stack. But for now, I'm going to glue the back glass, that's going to be the UGF box essentially, in place. And so we'll just I will have to modify the size of this. Actually, you know what, I'm going to cut it right now. So these have little hooks to hook them panels together. So I think that's the idea when you buy these, and why they only give you 1 stack. It's to do a whole tank, the bottom of a whole tank. And I'm not doing the bottom of a whole tank. So I want them to fit nice in the glass. So I'm going to cut some of these off. I'll keep these ones on the side because I'm going to have 1 there attached. But these just snap off. I just got wire cutters, and they come off quite easy. And I'll do the same when I modify the size of it. I'll just use the wire cutters as well. So this is going to go like so. This is the second panel. We'll go like so. So these should come off. Okay, so I have to get my glass. Like so. So I got some silicone. You got to watch out the silicone you buy. So this is by GE, and what you're looking for is silicone 1. So it's pure silicone. It doesn't have any anti-mold or any chemicals in it that will leach into the water. So always look for silicone 1. You can buy actual aquarium silicone, but I'm sure it's going to be more expensive just going to your local hardware store and getting the silicone 1. There's a couple companies that make it. I usually always get this one though. Now I should have some paper towel ready because I'm sure I'm going to make a mess. So I'm just going to silicone the one side, let it dry, and then I'll do the inside. That way I'm certain to get a good fit. Actually, I'm going to do this. So by putting those panels, can we see that? Putting those panels kind of up on an angle, I'm going to know the glass is going to be plumb in the tank, and it should be a nice tight fit. So you don't need a whole bunch of silicone, but you can clean it up after if you get a little bit messy with it. And it's not like I'm building a tank that needs to hold water. It doesn't matter if this is has some leaks essentially here and there, because it will still work as an under gravel filtration. I'm just going to smooth it out just so it looks nice. And we'll just give that 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to do the backside. I'm just going to let it set in place for now. Maybe I can show you how I'm going to make the stack. So the stack, I'm just going to use regular PVC pipes. I got some elbows and I got pipe joiners. So they take a little finesse, but these pipe joiners will fit on the stack attachment here, nice and snug. And then, now this one, of course, is adjustable, height adjustable. The one I'm not making is not going to be adjustable. So you're going to have to decide how tall you're going to want it. So just a rough measurement, I'm going to put a 90-degree elbow at the top. So about 8 inches I need of piping. So this is half-inch pipe, 8 inches. And actually I'm going to probably put 2 stacks on this so I get some really good filtration coming through the buffering substrate for the Caridina shrimp. And see, there. And there's the start of one stack. I will be drilling a hole in the end, and I'm gonna probably put a spout on the end here just to widen the spread of the water flow like the commercial ones come. And I'll show you how I do that in a minute. I'll just get my supplies ready. Okay, I'll show you how I'm gonna make the outlet spout at the top of the stack. I just got a heat gun. You might be able to do this with a blowtorch, but this I would think is going to be a lot safer. And I'm just going to heat up the end of the pipe, ABS pipe. This will soften up and you will be able to mold it a little bit. So I'm hoping I can mold it into a similar shape of the commercial one. Well, it's already getting soft. Let's heat her up a little bit more, and then I'm going to pinch the end. Oh yeah, that's nice and pliable. I'm just going to squish it down with a board because it's hot, so be careful. And now you got to hold it there until it cools. But it's not that hot, I can just hold it. Pinch it. No, it is pretty hot. So yeah, be careful. Okay, you know what? Now I'm going to cut it. How long am I going to want? Probably cut it as short as I possibly can before the pinched area. And yeah, that's what I got now. Which should fit into the end of my stack. Not bad. Commercial one compared to mine. Now I need to get an air line in there, so we're going to have to drill a hole in the top. So be careful on this one too, so you don't put a drill into your hand. But you want the drill hole basically to go, so maybe I'll go from the inside. No, it slides around in there. Go back to my outside. So about where the middle's going to be. Got to fight the bend because I'm a little bit on the bend here. But this drill bit is slightly smaller than some airline tubing. And there we're through. So I'm just going to ream it out a little bit. And see if an airline tube will fit in. Oh, we're close. Very close. Oh, yeah, a little bit. Hey, buddy. We could go a little bit more. I actually had these other bits, step bits, work really well too. But I got this bit in here, so I'm just going to ream it a little bit because I'm pretty close to the size I need. If I wasn't trying to do all this on camera, I'd probably go out to the garage and put this in a vise. It would be safer than holding it in your hand. So that's a nice tight fit. Doesn't need to be that tight, but that's going to work nice. So my stack now is just about complete. So this is going to go like so. And I like to put air stone on the end. But the typical air stone that you find everywhere, I see in all the stores, is this size. This size is it's too tight. That's not going to work. You could grind this down to make it smaller, but you can also find a smaller one that works quite nice. So, air stone. Send the tube down to about the coupler. And there you have it. There's one. I'm going to make one more. Might sand it because it's a little off color right now. You don't have to glue these. Just leave them in case you want to change the height at any time. You could just take it apart and cut it to shorten it or to put a longer one in. So I'm going to make another one of those, but I think I'm going to do the other side of the silicone here while we're filming. And so that will dry as fast as we can. So yeah, it's already tacky, so I can take these guys out, which were my spacers essentially. And I'm just going to silicone the back side, and then this isn't going to go anywhere. And a little bit harder to do on this side because don't have, oh, yeah, I don't have the room to get this silicone gun in there. So I'll probably have to I'll do some of this with my fingers because I can't, oh, when I move the glass. I'm going to cheat and do some with my fingers, just at the bottom, so I can't get the right angle for the gun. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And if you make a bit of a mess with the silicone, it's not that big of a deal, but if it bothers you, just take a razor blade after it gets a little tacky, and you could clean it up so it looks nicer.
Okay, I'm gonna make the second stack here, and so we'll put this on fast forward. Cue the fast forward music. Okay, so we're back to losing our audio during this segment of the clip. So back to dubbing over. So I finished off the two stacks. I'm happy with the way they turned out. So now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get these panels to fit across the back of the tank. They do not lock together and fit because the tank's too narrow. So I'm going to cut off an inch or so of the plastic panel. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do it. These wire cutters cut through the panel really nice, as you cannot see because I do not have the panel or the pliers in the picture right now. But the problem I ran into here was the pliers were too thick to cut right across the length of the panel. So I'm trying to figure out another way. And I'm also looking at where to cut the panel to kind of keep some of the integrity of it. And I just at the grid of the panel, you can see if I just cut in the same spot across the grid, I'll maintain some of the integrity of the edge of the panel. So yeah, the plier weren't working out for this purpose to cut the length of the panel, so I will resort to a utility knife here momentarily. So the utility knife actually worked quite well. Just put it down on my board and was able to cut across it. I won't bore you, and maybe we'll just fast forward to the end of this panel getting cut. Okay, I got the panels cut to fit, and the stacks are completed. I'm just gonna show you how they're gonna fit in the tank, but I'm gonna do it at the opposite end of the tank because my silicone's still a little wet. I'm going to, before I fill this tank up, I'm going to take all these parts apart and give them a good cleaning. These were just bought off the shelf at the hardware store, so who knows what chemicals could be on them. So I'm going to make sure I give them a good wash. So it's a really nice fit at the back. Like I said, I'm setting them up at the back just to demonstrate here for you. I'm probably going to, when I take them apart and reassemble them, I'll make sure the lettering on the pipe is towards the back just so it looks a little bit cleaner. There is a paint you can buy that is aquarium friendly. I don't have any, and yeah, okay. I want the tank to look nice, but it is ultimately just for breeding shrimp. So we'll let this dry, and I'll clean it up, and we'll put it together, and then we'll fill it up with some substrate. And I'll probably cut the rest of this video short because I can't remember what I was saying here. I'm sure it was some profound wisdom. Probably not, but all right, till the silicone dries.
So I've left it overnight actually, so it's nice and cured and set. This is a nice solid piece of glass. I have my under gravel filtration in place with the stacks. So now I have some fluval stratum at hand. Hopefully I have enough. I want about 6 cups of it in there. And then I'm going to top it off with some lava stones. And then I got, if you watched my cull video about selectively culling your shrimp on a white substrate, here's the white lava rock again that I'm just going to have at the front, mainly just to look nice, but it does add some biological filtration. So I'm going to fill this up with the substrates, get it up on my shelf, and we'll fill her up with water. Okay, there you have it. The tank is filled. I put some remineralized RODR water in right away. I like to check my pH, and it's reading 6.2, and so I write that down on all my tanks. Every time I check the pH, I just take a marker and I just tick 6.2 just to keep track of as it goes up or down. So I got 8 cups of fluval strata in the back there with topping it off with lava rocks. Now this tank, I'm in no rush to fill it. I got no immediate plans. In 2 or 3 months, I might pick up some high-end Caridina shrimp. So I just want to be prepared for it. So while this tank matures, I'll help it out by, I have a sponge filter I've just pulled out of one of my other established tanks. Most of my tanks have sponge filters in them, and I have extra clean sponge filters that I just swap out. And the other thing to help it go, instead of dose feeding it or putting a fish there and kind of torturing the fish going through the cycle, I put a dead shrimp in, or well, it's a store-bought, grocery store-bought prawn. And I just drop that in the tank and let that decompose for the first month, and that will put a ton of ammonia and help the tank start to grow that beneficial bacteria. It's on a grow light. I think I have it set at about 8 hours. So lots of light to get that algae started, getting ready for the new shrimp. So I'm going to cut it short. The video is getting a little bit long. Thanks very much for watching up to this point. And please like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. If you have any comments, suggestions, positive, negative, anything, I'm open to hear it, so please leave it in the comments. Okay, everybody, till the next one, take care.